And tell me your first and last name and spell it, because sometimes Dave Sell gets passed on. You know how this goes. Has more significance in light of all of the violence that we've had here in New York this summer?
I would say yes. This summer has been disastrous with the shootings of a 4-year-old child, a 3-year-old child being raised just recently in Brownfield, another child was shot. I would say yes. However, the shootings last year and the year before were also significant, and families are devastated by the violence. And the gun violence is creating havoc in our community. So we came here together to break bread, because that's an intimate means for people to communicate. Every time you invite somebody to your house to sit down over a table, you're doing that to say that we love you, we love one another. So we were breaking bread here at Applebee's. This is all over the country. If you're buying 6,000 rounds of ammunition, or if you're putting in for a weapon, then it should be some mental background, not just a criminal background check, but we should know how your mental state of mind is. And then we want you to be called back annually, similar to the police department. We want you to be called back annually to see if your mental mindset is still right. And if it's not right, then we take that weapon. And while you do that, you also find out if that person who was given the opportunity for the weapon still has that weapon in his or her person. So when you call them back annually, you want to know, one, how is your mental health? And two, do you still have that weapon in your possession? If the person doesn't have that weapon in possession, then where's that weapon at? And that person has to be held accountable, because it's probably in this community.
And that's the problem, because the problem here is not legal gun owners. It's not a Colorado situation.
No.
It's a situation where a lot of illegal guns are in the hands of people who should not possess them in the first place. So what are some of the new initiatives that you came up with this morning in terms of illegal guns here in Brooklyn?
That's what I mean. The one who applied for that gun, does that person still have that weapon in their possession? And if they don't, then they have to be held accountable, because obviously they done sold that weapon illegally to somebody in the community. So we have to deal with the root of it. The root of it is, how did that weapon get in the hands of this person who doesn't have a license? So whoever bought that weapon initially from wherever across America, right, have to find out, what did you do with that weapon? If you purchased that weapon, you did the background check, and you did the psychological background check, you should still have that weapon in your possession. Now, the illegal guns that are out here already, the churches are coming together, myself, Reverend Youngblood, and different ministers are coming together to speak to the community, but they already have it. They already have the weapons. So we have to show love, we have to show a caring heart to tell them to put the weapons down like this, and not speak at our children, but speak with our children, and speak with the young people, so they can hear that we care about them, and they're killing and creating havoc on our community, and life is valuable.
Did you come up with any specific ways to do that based on the meeting that you had this morning? How to really reach out to kids, because it's a different generation where they don't really respond to what young folks did 20 years ago.
Yes, well, we do the peace walk, of course, and that's very important. That's to show visibility in our community, to show strength. But we also have a documentary addressing violence. We also have a museum addressing violence. We also have a GED educational program where they can get their education and come together to address violence. These are different means and different measures to address violence. So we're talking about the James E. Davis Multicultural Museum of Peace. We're talking about the Peace Breakfast. We're talking about an art exhibit, a photographic art exhibit addressing violence. So there's different means. An art exhibit, peace walk, peace breakfast, documentary through film, and countless things, and an educational program. It's not just one way to fashion, do a fashion program, do an inspiring jazz concert. These are all the things that we did to address this, and you can't just do it one way. You got to find something through the arts. We're calling on Jay-Z to get involved. This is Brooklyn now. We have the Brooklyn Nets coming here. We're calling on entertainers to get involved. You're rapping, you're talking about making money and so forth, but our children are dying, and this is about life and death. So we want our entertainers to get involved as well.
Last week, Reverend Sharpton said that we need to take back the corners. Are you familiar with that new initiative?
Yes, I'm in touch with Reverend Sharpton. I was just at his program, National Action Network program. I spoke on a show. There's no set one way. So while you're taking back the corners with the ministers, then you're also doing things through the arts. Then you're also doing peace breakfasts. Then you're also doing peace walks. And then you're also doing films. We need Hollywood to get involved in this thing and show more positive movies. If every movie is killing and shooting, then that's all the children are seeing in front of them. If you show positive film, they'll have something to look up to. Dr. King is great. He's huge, the 60s, but there's thousands of other people that are working hard, doing great things that Hollywood can address their lives, and the young people can see them as well. People that walk in their community, talk in their community, people that lived in their community. Hollywood has to get involved. I had a conversation with National Amusement. They're out of Massachusetts. They own Linda Boulevard Theater. Prior to the movie theater massacre, we wanted wanted to do a public service announcement before those major movies come on with Tyler Perry saying, stop the violence, love yourself, stop the violence. Hollywood has to be involved in this as well.
Are you aware that stop and frisk is down 34% since the outcry? What's your position on that? Do you think it's effective? What do you think is profiling?
Because of the fashion statements now young people make, we have a tendency of profiling them, thinking that everybody's criminals. Everybody's not criminals. Sometimes it's just a fashion statement. Some kids are teenagers and they like to dress a certain way, and then they'll grow out of it. So it's a very delicate situation when you're just pulling over anybody randomly. And then when you pull them over randomly, some of our police officers, not all, some of our police officers are very rude, disrespectful, criminals in their own self. So now they're pulling them over, pointing guns and putting a gun to their head. That's a psychological, that can mess you up psychologically and mentally if a gun is putting on your head. So that has to be addressed in depth with serious solutions.
You say that the decrease, the 34% decrease in stop and frisk has a direct correlation to the increase in violence that we've had?
No, the increase in violence that we have is because the communities are not being funded, libraries are being closed, after-school programs are being closed, the children don't have anywhere to go, right? The children are wandering out here because there's no programs that are being funded, and there's money. So when they cry about not having the money, they do have the money. When politicians can raise millions of dollars to run for office, that means that you have access to money. So there is money, so that money's not being put into our young. That's not the reason. The reason is because of lack of funding, lack of tending to our children as a community, as adults, and everybody needs to get everybody's in the position of power needs to get fired because they're not children. They're not tending to our young people the way they're supposed to. Their parents. They need to put their political careers aside and start realizing that these children are all of our children, and it takes an entire village to raise these children. I don't think there's enough dialogue in that in that sit down to say what should we go from there as opposed to just beating one another up. The adults, let's sit down like adults and come to a reasonable conclusion so our children stop dying on the streets.
Sounds like a no then. You're not for stop and frisk.
I'm for let's sit down and address it like sensible adults and not start calling each other names because that gets no one anywhere. And the community, the children see us as leaders arguing with each other and it really turns them off and they just really do what they hit. So we have to represent and come together as in a leadership position.
We'll be with you guys. Okay.
Let's go.